What is up, everybody? I am super excited about the project cars right now. If you look behind me, we got Pop's 56, we got Penelope the 66. Both are actually running and driving better than they ever have. Honestly, after putting those gaskets in the carburetors and a little bit of tweaking, Pop's car feels like a different car. It's almost scary quick. There's obviously other things that need to be addressed on Pop's car because, whew, it is a wanderer. And you get going pretty fast and it's a little boop, 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 bouncing all over the place. So that's a little sketchy. The other thing is, oh my gosh, those brakes sound horrendous. And in that one video, I showed you how much dust was coming off of the brakes and onto those wheels. So I'm going to pull the car in the garage really quick. I'm going to swap out those pads if the cross-referenced ones work that I'd come up with. And we'll see if that makes a difference. And while doing that, I'm going to pull a front wheel and a back wheel off and see if I can determine what these wheels actually are, if there's any markings, if any of them are genuine Porsche, not Porsche wheels, because I want to find some good center caps for Pop's 56. All right, so I got the first front wheel off. Nothing spectacular going on here, so I'm definitely gonna brake clean the crap out of these brakes before I take them apart. You can see how freaking just nasty and dusty these bad boys are. You'll be able to see on the wheel too. So I haven't cleaned the wheel up yet, but you can tell they're just crazy dirty. And I was hoping to get some sort of, casting number, part number, something on these wheels. Now, you can see some self-clearancing marks a little bit on the wheel. So it must have been rubbing on the caliper a little bit, which who knows, maybe that knocking the caliper around is part of what's caused the squeal. So far, the only marking I see is 6x15, which I'm kind of surprised because I didn't think that was a 6-inch wide wheel. So I'm not sure that that's, but who knows. I'm gonna sorry, that was kind of a funny, just Wade rambling moment right there. I'm going to clean the crap out of these wheels and maybe it'll expose something else. There's just so much stuff caked on them that if there is any lighter stamping marks or numbers in them, you're not going to see them. So I did clean up the wheel a bit more and I still don't see any markings other than that 6x15. So the only other thing I'm going to do is actually pop out that tall center cap, and I might actually take it off since the back two are missing, but pop that out. One, it'll give me an idea on whether a flat cap will work on the front of the car because you have the grease caps on the front, but I need to measure the actual diameter of that hole to see what size center cap I'm looking for. Real quick, these are the pads I got. They're Posi Quiets. They're Centric brakes. This is the part number here. Now, the reason why I went with these is I actually work in the automotive business. I've used Centric Posi Quiets a ton on pretty much every used car we've ever done and had really good luck with them. So I'm sure you all could figure this out yourselves, but just in case you haven't done brakes on any of these with the kind of generic brake caliper, they went to this generic one for a lot of the cheaper disc brake kits. There's, two 17mm bolts holding the caliper onto the bracket, and then you have a couple little hairpin clips right there to pull out to be able to push the slides out. And then you're going to have this little spring clip is what actually kind of puts some tension on the pads and those slides. So pretty easy. I'm going to pull those hairpin clips, pull the pads, swap those springs over to the new ones. Hopefully everything works and we get back on the road without a bunch of crazy squealing. Well, now that they're out, we can compare them side by side. And I'm kind of bummed because I can tell you they are a little bit different style. So These are the new pads, which I do think probably would help with our issue. The problem comes in with the actual hardware that puts tension on those brake pad sliders. So if I can find the old school crossbar hardware, I think I could use these pads in that caliper. Without going too far, I can show you this little spring clip. Not going to work on these pads. Pretty simple, pretty easy to see. So you can see there's not going to be any tension on those caliper pins at all. So not going to be able to use those clips. Man, what is up with the continuity errors in this video? That's not even the same guy, is it? The other guy had a beard. He was definitely wearing different clothes. I don't think it's the same guy. No, yeah, it's me. I just decided to shave after 4+ years, so we'll see how it goes. One of my buddies was giving me a hard time, said I should have done it in the summer, which probably would have made sense. Enough about me. Let's get back to where we stopped off on Pops 56. So if you guys remember where we stopped off, I got some different pads for Pops 56, and they're a slightly different design, so I can't use the retaining springs that were from the original pads. I had to get a kit also from Centric. There's that part number on the brake pads, which I will also put in the link below if this all works out. So I got a disc brake hardware kit here. There's the part number on it as well, and you can see it's got the other style retainer clips. Now those sliders, those pins, I don't think I'm going to be able to use with my calipers. If you see the pin that mine has, a little bit different style. Remember, it had that hairpin clip. These ones hammer in, just a little bit different style, but hopefully those will work like we needed. All right, I got one side installed. You can see how this crossbar clip, retaining clip, installs versus those other clips. It does put pressure on the pads to hold them in place. I'm not 100% sure that it's going to work still, although it looks like it went together. Everything looks pretty good. There's a little bit more drag on the rotor, but this caliper also sat with without pads or anything, or being on a rotor, so the pistons could have actually pushed a little bit. So until I get the other side done and we go for a drive, I honestly am not 100% it's going to work. Do you ever feel like you can't win for losing? That is me right now. So I pulled off one of the rear wheels because I'm still trying to determine whether these are, what these wheels are, if I can find center caps for them or not. And clearly, rear brakes are leaking. Actually, on both sides, which is sad because this car actually had really good brakes other than the front squeal, which is what I'm taking care of right now. So this is something Trav and I are definitely going to have to address. Well, I got Pops 56 buttoned up and I did take it for a drive. I'm going to call this one success adjacent. I'm going to flip you around and show you a couple things because I need to do some more clearancing or something before I really drive the car a whole lot more. And it could have been part of the problem that I had with the original brakes as well. So let me flip you around. I happened to stop just at the perfect spot because you can see how close that caliper is, and it might actually be touching the spoke right now. If I think when I had the wheels off, when I was trying to figure out what's what, I think you could see on the fronts there were some marks that they had hit the calipers at one point, and I think with those new pads it's doing the same thing, which it doesn't really hit necessarily when you're going down the road, but when you push the brakes and they move a little bit, you start to get some growling, which I think is actually the caliper hitting the back of the wheel, which obviously is not something that we want. So I'm gonna go grab a little mini grinder from Trav, I think, and do a little bit of clearancing on that caliper, both sides, to actually take care of that. What's up, everybody? So honestly, I always record a bunch of footage and videos, and then stuff happens or I order parts, and then I kind of put the videos together as I go. And I can't really remember, and I haven't put together a video from the brakes and the wheels from Pops 56. But I'm gonna report that the brakes are working awesome. I clearanced the calipers a little bit, took care of everything that was causing issues there. And I'm gonna flip you around. We're gonna take a look at the center caps I got for Pop's wheels and kind of what maybe he thought. He had original Porsche wheels, two original wheels, two aftermarket wheels. We'll go over that. As you can see, I actually have gotten center caps. Now, I didn't put them on this side yet, so you could see how questionable it looks without them. But, you know, Pop's wheels were probably a minimum 25 years old. And the rear wheels are 15x7s, the fronts were 15x6s. And talking to a couple people, we believe that all of them are reproductions. I know Pops didn't buy them new. I think he probably, weirdly, I actually almost think he bought them for the 73 Volkswagen before he even had the 56, because he had bought a lowered front beam that had been restored. He bought drums that were drilled for the Porsche wheels, which we ended up using on at least the rears on the 56, and he had front drums as well. And I believe he bought all of those for the 73 originally. They're at least 25 years old, and he more than likely bought them at swap meets, so they're older than that. But they're early reproductions. I think both fronts and rears are reproductions. The interesting thing is the front ones are reproductions of early Porsche wheels, and the rears are reproductions of later Porsche wheels. The reason why I think Pops thought the fronts were original and the rears were aftermarket is the fronts take a 3-prong early style cap, whereas the rears take the ring type Porsche cap. And most of the reproduction wheels today take this late style reproduction cap. No one's really doing reproduction wheels with this early style cap. So I believe that's why Pops thought the fronts, I think he thought, were the original ones. But from what we can tell, it looks like they're reproductions of early Porsche wheels. There's a little bit better breakdown on the wheels, why Pops thought the front ones might have been original and the rear ones were reproductions. I think they're all reproductions, but pretty cool. And they look so much better with caps on them. So I'm gonna get the other caps on the other side, get it buttoned up. Pop's car is actually running really well right now, which I'm happy to report. The brakes aren't squealing like crazy, and not a bunch of crazy brake dust anymore. So it is the best driving Pop's 56 has been for quite a long time. That's going to be it for this Mileage Unknown. Stay tuned for more Volkswagen shenanigans.